The lost civilization of Atlantis. What if, beneath the Atlantic Ocean, buried under miles of water and sediment, there are the ruins of a civilization older than history itself? A civilization with advanced engineering, organized government, massive harbors and temples lined in gold. A civilization so powerful it tried to conquer the known world, and then, in a single day and night, it disappeared, not declined, not weakened, erased. No confirmed ruins, no official archaeological classification, no location on any map, just a story. But here's what makes it disturbing. The story is too detailed to be random, and the timing of its destruction matches a real global catastrophe. Tonight, we're not asking whether Atlantis is entertaining. We're asking, was Atlantis history? And if it was, why don't we know? Stay with me, because this goes deeper than mythology. The only ancient source describing Atlantis in detail comes from one man, Plato. Around 360 BCE, Plato wrote two dialogues, Timaeus, Critias. In them, he describes a powerful island nation called Atlantis. But here's what most people miss. Plato doesn't say he invented the story. He claims it was told to the Athenian lawmaker Solon, who heard it from Egyptian priests. And according to them, the story was already 9,000 years old. That places Atlantis around 9,600 BCE. Let that sink in. That's before the pyramids, written language, recorded empires. So either Plato fabricated one of the most intricate fictional civilizations ever written, or he was preserving something much older. But before we judge him, let's examine what he actually described. Plato's description is shockingly precise. And Atlantis was larger than Libya and Asia Minor combined, positioned beyond the Pillars of Hercules, modern Strait of Gibraltar. Built in concentric circles of land and water, linked by canals wide enough for ships, surrounded by massive defensive walls. At its center, a temple to Poseidon, decorated in precious metals, housing statues of kings carved in stone. The city had a structured military, a legal system, trade networks, engineering sophistication. This does not sound primitive. It sounds organized. It sounds imperial. It sounds advanced. But Plato also says something important. Atlantis became corrupt, powerful, arrogant, expansionist. It attempted to conquer ancient Athens. And then, divine punishment. Earthquakes, floods. The island sank. Now pause here. If this were simply allegory, why describe canal dimensions, military strength, geographic positioning? Why include logistics? It feels less like fiction and more like a record. But here's where things take a scientific turn. Around 12,800 years ago, Earth experienced a dramatic climate event known as the Younger Dryas. Temperatures dropped suddenly. Ice sheets destabilized. Sea levels eventually rose over 400 feet. Entire coastlines disappeared. Now imagine this. If early civilizations existed along coastlines, their cities would now be underwater, completely erased. No ruins on land, no temples visible, nothing, just ocean. And here's what makes this even more unsettling. Nearly every ancient civilization tells a flood story. Mesopotamian tablets describe a global deluge. Indian texts reference a world-consuming flood. Ancient Chinese mythology speaks of catastrophic waters. Even biblical accounts describe total destruction by water. Different continents, same story. Why? Shared trauma? Or coincidence? If Atlantis represents a civilization destroyed by rising seas, it fits the timeline disturbingly well. But we're not done, because now we examine the locations. And this is where debate explodes. Plato said Atlantis lay beyond the Pillars of Hercules. That suggests the Atlantic Ocean. But no confirmed massive ruins have been found there. So researchers proposed alternatives. Santorini, the Minoan theory. Around 1600 BCE, the island of Thera erupted violently. It devastated the Minoan civilization on Crete. Massive explosion. Tsunamis. Civilization collapse. It matches. Advanced island civilization. Sudden destruction. But the timeline is off by thousands of years. Unless Plato's numbers were symbolic or mistranslated. The Azores Plateau. Some believe Atlantis lies near the Azores in the Atlantic. Underwater formations have sparked curiosity. But natural geology can mimic architecture. Still, sonar scans show intriguing shapes. Nothing confirmed, but not fully dismissed. The Caribbean and Bimini Road. In the Bahamas, underwater stone formations resemble man-made roads. Some believe these are remnants of Atlantis. Geologists argue they are natural rock formations. The debate continues, and the mystery remains unsolved. Antarctica? Yes, Antarctica. Before the Ice Age, it was warmer. If an advanced civilization existed before glaciation, it would now be buried under miles of ice. No direct evidence confirms this, but large portions of Antarctica remain unexplored beneath the ice sheet. We don't know what lies under there. And that uncertainty fuels speculation. Here's a thought most mainstream history avoids. What if civilization is older than we think? We assume organized civilization began around 3000 BCE, but recent discoveries challenge that. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey dates back over 11,000 years. That means monumental architecture existed long before we believed. If humans built massive stone structures that early, what else existed that we haven't found? What if Atlantis wasn't futuristic, just advanced for its time? A coastal empire wiped out by sea rise. If so, its ruins would be deep underwater, buried under sediment, nearly impossible to locate. That doesn't make it myth, it makes it difficult to prove. And that's a very different thing. Here's the psychological layer. Atlantis represents something universal. The fear that even the most powerful civilization can fall. Overnight, no warning, no mercy, it reflects us. Modern cities are built on coastlines. Global warming is raising sea levels. We are technologically dominant. So was Atlantis. If it fell from arrogance, are we immune or repeating history? Atlantis may not just be a lost place. It may be a lesson, a memory encoded in myth, a warning passed through time. So what was Atlantis? A fictional allegory? A distorted memory? A drowned Ice Age civilization? A symbolic warning? Or something we haven't discovered yet? If the oceans hide over 70% of Earth's surface, how much history lies beneath? Maybe Atlantis hasn't been found because we're looking in the wrong place. Or maybe we're not ready to find it. Because discovering Atlantis wouldn't just rewrite geography. It would rewrite human history. And that changes everything. So I'll leave you with this. If Atlantis was real, would we even recognize it? Tell me your theory below. And if you want more hidden history, forgotten civilizations, and mysteries buried beneath time, subscribe, because the next story is even more unsettling.